In today's Stadia news, we're going to be going over 2 games that have arrived on the Stadia platform today, as well as some upcoming games that are highly anticipated by many within the community, including myself. So let's get right into it by taking a look at the first of the 2 titles that are currently available for purchase right now. This one is Street Power Football, and it's available for $29.99. According to the description, you can expect sick style and high energy action come together in an arcade style football experience. The game will allow you to face off against street football legends or friends in a variety of over-the-top game modes and playgrounds. It is worth pointing out that this game does have support for both single player as well as local and online multiplayer and co-op. From what I've seen, the game appears to be a pretty decent arcade style sports game, definitely reminiscent of NBA Jam. There do appear to be power-ups, and the game does focus on 1v1, 2v2, or 3v3 gameplay, but whether or not it's as good as the NBA Jam series is an entirely different story. That's quite a legacy to live up to. Either way, do let me know if you ended up picking this game up, and let me know your impressions of it down in the comment section below. The second title we're going to take a look at is called 100 Days Winemaking Simulator, and it's going to be available for $22.49, but I do need to make a quick correction, it will be launching May 13th. Your goal here is to make the best wine interacting with soil and nature to take your winery up to the top level. You'll get to choose which vines you grow, how to grow them, and when to harvest. The game promises to make your choice matter here. Everything from the vineyard to the sales, you'll have influence over every step of the way. It's a simulation management style game, and if that's your cup of tea, or in this case glass of wine, well, it actually looks like a pretty good one. I should also point out that this game does happen to be a part of the Stadia Makers program, so it's always cool to see these games get released. But now it's time we move on to the big news story of the day, and this time it's coming from Cloudy with thechanceofgames.com. According to the latest Ubisoft investors call, Rainbow Six Siege, For Honor, and Uno 50th Anniversary Edition will be arriving on Stadia this quarter. Now, I don't mean to knock on Uno here, it's a fantastic game, but I'm really interested in the first 2. Siege and For Honor are 2 titles I've been wanting on Stadia for the longest time now. It's fair to say that both of those titles have a huge multiplayer focus, and that's an element that seems to be lacking on Stadia quite a lot. These types of games are extremely important to me. They're the type of titles I usually play, and I have to play them outside of Stadia. Siege is an absolutely fantastic first-person shooter, and it's a title that I still check out to this day. When talking about first-person shooters, I'd say you have about 5 big titles. You have your CSGO, Valorant, Battlefield, Call of Duty, and you have Siege. The fact that Stadia is finally gonna get a staple first-person shooter experience like this is a really big deal. And when speaking about For Honor, it's a very unique multiplayer experience. I was actually very hooked on the game the first year. The fact that it's coming to Stadia means I have the perfect excuse to check it out now and see everything that's been added over time. Now, as great as this news is, there is one thing that I do need to point out and I hope gets addressed. Neither of these 2 great multiplayer titles currently support crossplay. Rainbow Six Siege does state that it's currently looking into cross-progression and crossplay support to be added, but in the case of For Honor, it seems to be a no-go. At the very least, I do hope they allow Stadia players to play within the PC player pool. I think it's pretty well known that a reason why multiplayer lobbies seem to be empty on Stadia is because the player pool just isn't high enough to support so many games. These 2 titles specifically really do benefit from having a bigger player pool full of different skill levels. The last thing anyone wants is to be matched up with a bunch of higher skilled players that are gonna be rolling you every single time. So fingers crossed that Siege does get that crossplay support around the time it launches on Stadia. Either way, it's great to see the continued push and support from Ubisoft for cloud gaming, not just Stadia but all cloud platforms. They seem to be the biggest third-party publisher out there, really pushing and helping out these new platforms, and I'm glad to see it. Either way, that wraps up all the major Stadia news of the day. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button as it really does help the channel out. And if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. Today's end of video message is simply going to be asking you for what game has you most excited coming to Stadia out of the ones we talked about today. Be it the 2 titles that are coming this week or the 3 other titles that we talked about coming from Ubisoft. As for myself, it's easily Rainbow Six Siege. It's a game that I absolutely love and I cannot wait to have a solid first-person shooter like it on Stadia. I look forward to reading your comments down below. As always, thank you for watching the video. This has been The Virtual Cloud, giving you the latest and greatest on everything cloud gaming and virtual reality. And until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.